Hey y'all, welcome to the start of another weekly reading vlog. It's Sunday and honestly I just have not been feeling like doing anything today, which is why it's 7 o'clock and I'm just now talking to you. But it has been raining all day. Josh had to go into work a little bit late, so it was nice to be a bit lazy, though I did have to get up a little earlier to take my niece her birthday present and then also go by my parents' house to water their plants. While doing that, I did listen to the rest of Out of the Shadows by Justina Ireland, which is obviously part of my Star Wars canon project. This was also my pick for the second prompt in Galactathon, which is a readathon that I am helping to host this month. So that worked out very well. It was for a book that had military or political themes going on. All Star Wars books have politics in some way, shape, or form. Unfortunately, I didn't love this one as much as previous books. I definitely think part of the issue I had with it does come down to the audiobook because the narrator just was not my favorite. She didn't do the best at distinguishing voices, particularly for men. For a lot of the adult novels, they're these fully produced pieces where there's lots of background noise and additional elements that add to the story. The narrator gets very into the book itself and like whatever tone is supposed to be coming across, but she never really did anything like that. So I didn't feel like I was pulled to the edge of my seat at times that I should have been when action was going on. It also felt like it took a very long time for the plot that we're given on the summary to actually start taking place. There was so much setup going on here, and then the plot that we're promised, I don't know how to say this without going into spoilers, but like it just didn't do what I expected, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I didn't like what it did instead. Honestly, this very much felt like a middling book where it is connecting prior books to the events that are going to be happening next. So yeah, unfortunately this was just very meh, but at least it's a book that I finished, so that's something. After the first book I finished for Galactathon, I honestly was kind of feeling like I was in a bit of a slump. Thankfully, I had finally finished the next book in the Big Bad Wolf series, which I think kind of reinvigorated me. I rode that train and picked up another queer romance book because I knew that would be something I could work through very quickly. Plus, this is actually going to be the book fulfilling my book club for Wednesday. So obviously this is The Prospects by K.T. Hoffman. I've been really excited for this one. I'd heard only positive things from ARC reviewers, and it is a queer romance story following these two men in minor league baseball. Our main character, Gene, is actually trans, and he is open within the league. Thankfully, majority of people on his team are very awesome, really kind people who accept him for who he is. But Gene has really found a place for himself on this team, and he loves it. He doesn't think he's ever going to hit the major leagues, but he's comfortable where he is and he's at least getting to do something he loves. However, unfortunately for him, he gets bumped from shortstop to second base when Luis joins the team. Luis and Gene actually played together in college, and when Luis got called up, he disappeared and didn't really ever say goodbye to Gene, and Gene has never forgotten that. But he also just isn't really working with the team very well. He's really awkward. He doesn't connect with everybody, and Gene takes this as like a personal affront. So it does sort of have that like rivals to lovers thing going on. But as the story continues, their relationship has been improving, and I've really been enjoying this. I read over 100 pages of it yesterday alone. I've been tabbing it and just having a good old time. Luis did know Gene prior to his transition, so there's a little bit of awkwardness there and a little discussion around Gene's identity that's been going on, but it's really not at the forefront of the story. A part of it, just the same as Gene being Jewish or his roommate's husband is deaf. I have to say the author's done a fantastic job of just sliding in little pieces of representation, whether it's disabilities or race, sexualities. It doesn't feel shoehorned in. Instead, it feels like the author has just made a cast of characters that are reflective of the real world. But across the board, I'm really liking this. It's so sweet, and the developing relationship between Luis and Gene has just been very kind, hopeful. They have actually been propositioned to play in the Futures game, which means they could possibly be scouted for the major leagues, and it's such a big deal. As I said, I do have to finish this by Wednesday, which means I need to read about another 130 pages in the next few days. I'm also still in the middle of One of Us Knows by Alyssa Cole for a separate reading vlog that I'm gonna be talking about this there, so I probably won't mention it too much here. I do have the audiobook out from Audible, so I think when I'm driving to the airport, I'll listen to this. My friend Kat is actually gonna be coming to stay with me this week. I'm so excited. She's gonna be here until probably Wednesday or Thursday. So it'll be a ton of fun. Josh is also staying with me this week, so I'm gonna be a lot more social than normal. Kat's been on my channel before. I'll put a link to one of my prior videos with her up above. I'm gonna use her as an excuse for us to go to Half Price Books, and then I'm sure we will get a bunch of reading done together because she is also a giant reader. She just finished Funny Story by Emily Henry. I have that on my shelves that I need to read here soon. If she talks it up a bunch, there's a strong possibility that may be the next book I pick up. Hello. So it is Monday and Kat and I went to Half Price Books. I managed to sell a ton of books off of my shelves, which I'm very happy about. Sorry, I didn't talk to y'all really at all yesterday because I ended up having to pick up Kat a little bit later. Unfortunately, her flight got delayed. And then once we got back, we were both just starving, ate dinner, watched a little bit of Has Been Hotel. I did force her to start into that, and then we passed out. But like I said, I did drag her to the flagship Half Price today, and I will have a video coming out for y'all later, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But I did buy 2 new books. I'm very excited for both of them. When it comes to reading, I have been using Kat as a little bit of an excuse to try and get a little more reading done today. Though I did listen to One of Us Knows by 𝗖cie HIH𝗁𝘁 when I went into work. I'm liking it, but I also am having issues just because I'm expecting this event to take place and this event still has not taken place. And I'm just starting to wonder, like, what is going on here? When are we gonna get it? But so I've continued reading into this. Then I also read further into the prospects, and I'm loving this book, y'all. It is so freaking cute. Oh my God. The fact that like these two probably shouldn't be dating, honestly, because they play baseball together and they are in the minor leagues, which is not usually a long-term thing for most players at this point. It's unfortunately like a very unlabeled, no time frame relationship right now, but at the same time, like I just don't care because they're so cute and they care about each other so much. It's just so good. The character work in this is fantastic. I cannot believe this is Katie Hoffman's debut work because it's been so good. They're writing around baseball also, and Jean's self-reflection that goes on throughout the story is amazing. I'm loving it. It is fan-freaking-tastic. Plans for the rest of the night, Kat and I are going to make dinner because we're both freaking starving. I think I'm gonna do this like chickpea salad thing that I used to make in college all the time anyway, so I know she likes it and I love it. Then probably gonna make her watch a little bit more Has Been Hotel. I knew she would like it, but she is not a TV person, meaning in college I constantly had to like force TV shows onto her, and I'm just doing that again because it's a short show, it's a musical number, and it's hilarious in like the very darkest way, so I know she will enjoy. Hey guys, sorry to film another update in the same setup, but I didn't move any of my filming equipment and we're about to leave, so just gonna work this in real quick. I haven't really gotten any more reading done, unfortunately, but hi, it's Tuesday. Kat and I had a pretty chill day. She just hung out with me while I worked. Thankfully I could work from home today. And then Josh had a fantastic idea that we should take her to Meow Wolf, which is this really wild art exhibit that's like an immersive experience and also feels kind of like an acid trip, but you know, without the drugs. We've gone twice now and we did see there were a few things that had changed. It takes like 2 hours to go through the entire thing. So it's gonna take a while, and I think Kat will love it seeing as how she is an artist. But we're gonna go head out for that, though it is a pretty far drive, meaning I don't know if I will get any real reading done today. We're gonna drive out there, do Meow Wolf, and then I think we're gonna get dinner on our way back. I really don't think any reading's gonna happen, seeing as how Kat's flight is pretty early tomorrow and I have to drop her off before work. But I just wanted to give a little update real fast before you see a bunch of B-roll of really wonky, weird stuff. You see why we needed
A locker.
Oh! It didn't raise as high as I thought it did. There we go. I was like, I thought there was a light in here. Funny.
I'm stuck.
Well, help!
Okay.
Oh, God. Hey y'all, happy Thursday. Hopefully there's not too much background noise going on. I'm about to go over to my brother's, but I realized I needed to talk to y'all, seeing as how I don't think I filmed an update yesterday. I'm not really sure. I didn't get a lot of sleep. I had to take Kat to the airport fairly early, and then I had book club yesterday night, so I was like really wiped. I got back from book club and was so dead. I do actually have some reading updates. First off, I did finish One of Us Knows by 𝗖cie 𝗁𝘁, and I like this, but it was a wild time. Some of the twists I'm not 100% sure on if I liked or not. I think my anticipated releases vlog should already be out for this, so I'll put a link to that in the cards. I also ended up finishing The Prospects by 𝗖cie 𝗁𝘁, and I really liked this one. I was planning to talk about this at my book club because it has some light enemies to lovers. I would say it's more like rivals to lovers going on when things first start out, seeing as how Jean is the shortstop and Luis ends up inadvertently taking his spot and pushing Jean over to second base. It honestly was pretty light in that regard. Across the board, this was like so freaking cute. It was so sweet. It was really soft. Seeing Luis, who was an anxious little being, finally standing up for himself and kind of figuring out what he wanted to do and not just kind of falling into the life he felt like he had to have was fantastic. I really enjoyed it, and it just made me love him so much more. But Jean and realization that like it's not a bad thing for him to want more from life, realizing other people around him are going to want more from life and that's why they're going to move on, and if he doesn't, he'll just end up stagnant. On one hand, this was a really sweet, really cute romance, but on the other side, it had fantastic character reflection and development. I really enjoyed Jean's character throughout this entire book. I think Hoffman wrote him perfectly. Nice and steamy, had like 3 spicy scenes. Also had some very funny moments in this book. I definitely was cracking up at many a times, but I ended up not talking about this at book club because we had sort of a unofficial theme that popped up that wasn't enemies to lovers, and that was kidnapping. And I realized that The Wolf at the Door by 𝗖cie RH also could fall into enemies to lovers and did have kidnapping in it. So I ended up talking about that book instead, which was very, very funny. So yeah, my romance book club was a ton of fun. However, my prompt for next month actually ended up changing, which is totally fine. I don't care that much, and it didn't really affect my reading plans a ton, but it did slightly affect my reading plans because, you know, I'm me, and of course I already had book club picks for the rest of the year set, but it's fine. It's fine. As for today though, I have officially started into my digital TBR poll for continuing a series with The Winter of the Witch by Catherine Arden. I just barely read into this today while driving to work, and I will listen to some more of it while driving to my brother's and back tonight, so hopefully I will get a bit more worked on. This is the last book in the Winter Night trilogy, which I've been reading. I don't think this series is going to be a new favorite, honestly, but I would so far say it's a very solid 4-star. I don't regret reading this series and I'm really enjoying it, but I just don't think this is a series I would ever personally want to reread. I love getting to see more of the Russian history going on here. On top of that, the folklore elements that are tied into it all have just been done very, very well. 𝗖cie somehow works so well as a Mulan character who is pushing against the expectations of women at this point in time, not in a unrealistic way. I really enjoy 𝗖cie as a main character. She's so strong-willed and so true to her morals and her ethics. She is determined to do what she believes is right, and a lot of the time that requires her throwing herself into the lion's den. There are times where I want to shake her, but then again, I remember just the entire setup of the story works against her doing this. Makes it all the more impressive that she won't back down, and I love her for it. There is a bit of a romance that's been developing in this series so far, and I'm not really sold on it. But things in this one immediately pick up where the last book ended, which I do think is very cool, that like Arden doesn't allow for any time between the stories. You really just can like bang, bang, bang through these books because the events are continuous. So I'm hoping I will like this and that it'll end on a positive note. Seeing as how both my digital and my physical book prompt were fantasy books, I'm gonna try and focus on one at a time, and hopefully that means I'll work through them a little bit faster. Oh, duh, no, I actually read more than just when I was driving to work today. I don't know why I forgot. I had a doctor's appointment, so I also read some more then. Not that it really matters that much. As I said, tonight I'm going over to my brother's. I don't know what we're planning to do apart from watch 𝗖cie Creek. And then tomorrow I have work, and Josh and I will be packing up to stay at his place Friday night because we are going down to Austin with his parents Saturday morning. Highly doubt I will have finished this by Saturday morning, so a strong chance that I'll be taking this with me. Hey guys, happy Sunday. Oh my gosh, I like totally just didn't really film anything while we were in Austin, probably because it was very go. But Josh and I went to stay at his place Friday night, so I got to listen to a little bit of The Winter of the Witch by Katherine Arden while I was driving over. I am getting more invested in the romance that's happening here, which is very interesting because I feel like I didn't actually get invested into the romance until they were officially a couple. I didn't care about any build up between them. I didn't feel any tension really going on there. Even once the love interest had confessed his feelings to 𝗖cie, I still didn't really feel it. However, now that they've finally sort of taken that leap, I'm more into it, but it is a certain trope that I am not a fan of. When there was like kind of, I mean, I wouldn't call it a smut scene, but like there is a sex scene that takes place. It did make me feel uncomfy. I'm still not a fan of that anytime I see it in fantasy stories. But so I read a little bit more of this Friday night. And then Saturday morning we headed down to Austin. I listened to some more of the audiobook of this one while I was playing some games on my phone because I was not awake yet. I guess by that point I was still really liking it. We're gearing up towards the climax with the big bad character. Very invested. However, I really wanted to start the other book that I had brought with me, which was Funny Story by Emily Henry. Yes, I should have read Dragon Fruit, which was my physical book pick for my TBR jar this month, but I don't really like reading two books of the same genre at the same time, so I decided to take this one instead. And once I started reading it, I couldn't stop until we arrived in Austin. but I'm loving this. This will be in my anticipated releases vlog, which should already be out, and I've already linked because of One of Us Knows, so I won't talk about it too much, but like it's been going fantastically. While in Austin, Josh's family had a little bit of a swim party at one of the Airbnbs, and so we had a lot of fun there, hung out. The Airbnb actually had this really cool like game room set up in basically a little farmhouse, so that was really fun, and Josh and I played some Mario Kart. We did some swimming, which was really nice. First swim of the year. It was only about 90 degrees, so the water was still a little chilly, but it was fun. Got to meet one of his cousins for the very first time, so that was really cool. And then we eventually got back to the B&B and just vegged out for the rest of the night. Then had an early checkout Sunday, seeing as how Josh had to work tonight. And on our way back, I just hit myself in the face. I just continued reading Funny Story because, again, loving it. It's so good. I'm currently 270 pages in, and I just don't want to, I don't want to stop. I want to continue reading. Once we got back, Josh isn't staying with me this week, so I had to drive myself home, unfortunately. And that is when I continued The Winter of the Witch and was very shocked to find that the climax, or what I thought was the climax, the fight with the big bad character, is not the end of the story. Things are continuing, and I'm not really sure how to feel about that, because I don't really care about the historical aspect of battle that's coming up as much. It's not nearly as interesting after we just watched this fantastical war between these two very powerful beings. 𝗖cie is kind of confronted, I guess, by one of the other 𝗖cie, which are the fantastical beings, is chastised for how she handled the climax. It's frustrating to me because it seems as though we're once again relying on just lack of communication to continue the plot. That was something I did not like with The Girl in the Tower, the prior book, so I'm not really a fan of it here either. Like I said before, I'm liking the series, but I just don't feel like it's gonna be a 5-star series for me personally. On that note, it is Sunday night. I am so tired. I did not do the reading that I really should have for this weekly vlog, but I still managed to finish 2 and like basically a 3rd book between the 2 others that I'm currently in the middle of. Not a bad reading week at the very least. On that note, that's it for today, y'all. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. I really appreciate it. Make sure to hit like and subscribe down below. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, leave me a lemon emoji in the comments. I have all my socials as well as a few ways you can support me linked in the description. I come out with videos on Monday and Friday, but until then, I hope you continue to have a terrific day. Love you, bye!